Hello friends, myself Salil Gadgil. Welcome to Math Opera. In this video, I am going to show you the operations on decimal numbers. Not just that, I am also going to explain the rationale behind it. Let's get started. So now let's understand the concept of addition and subtraction of decimal numbers and the rationale behind it. I have written 4 problems over here. 2 problems are related to addition and 2 problems are related to subtraction. Let's look at the first problem. 60.28 plus 41.08. Now if I take a look at this number 60.28, the important concept that we need to understand here is the place value of these digits. As we know, this is the decimal point. So let me write that decimal point below the decimal point here. U is for units, T is for tens and H is for hundreds. TTH is for tenths, that is 1/10, and that is the digit that follows the decimal point, that is its place value. And you have the hundreds, which is written as HTH here. So 60.28 would mean 6 tenths, 0 units and 2 tenths and 8 hundredths, right? That is the meaning of 60.28 plus 41.08. So what we do in case of addition and subtraction is we place the decimal points one below the other, and after you place the decimal points one below the other, we fill in any empty spaces with zeros if required, and then we do our normal addition or subtraction. And that is what we were doing even when you had addition and subtraction of normal natural numbers, that is the numbers which did not involve the decimal places. We were doing the addition and subtraction by writing the units digit of one number below the units digit of the other number and so on. In short, when you add or subtract, you are trying to actually place the corresponding digits with the same place value one below the other, right? And now the addition is normal. 8 plus 8, 16, 1 carried. So 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 0 is 3. Decimal point, that number of decimal points does not change because you are only adding the corresponding digits of the similar place value. 0 plus 1, 1 and 6 plus 4 is 10. So the answer is 101.36. Let's try the fourth one, which is an addition problem. So 42, so let me now try to write the same numbers over here. So we have 42. Now do you notice a decimal point over here? The decimal point is going to be after 2, but there are no digits after that decimal point, right? So what I'll do is I have 2 in the units place, 4 in the tens place, that's 42, and in these 2 places I am going to add zeros because there are no digits that are given in this particular number. So 42 is equivalent to 42.00, right? There are no tenths and there are no hundreds as well. Plus 61.98. So 61.98, and now it is simple addition. The number of decimal points is not going to change. So 0 plus 8, 0 plus 9, the decimal point remains as is. 2 plus 1, 3 and 4 plus 6, 10. So this is the idea behind the addition part of decimal numbers. Just write the digits one below the other without changing their place values. Now let's look at subtraction. So let's write the subtraction problem here. We have 31.02. So 3 is the tens place, 1 is in the units place, 0 is in the tenths place and 2 is in the hundreds place. So we would write this as 31.02 minus we have 20.6. So 20 point, we have a 6 here, and the the digit is missing, this hundredths place digit is missing, and that's why we write that hundredths digit as a 0, correct? And now we do subtraction just like what we do with our natural numbers. So 2 minus 0, 2, there's a 0, 0 minus 6 not possible, so you can borrow, or you can use subtraction using addition, which is explained in one of my other videos. So I would do that here. 4 plus 6 is 10, 1 carried. 1 plus 0 is 1, and there's already a 1 here, so 0. Decimal point below the decimal point. 3 minus 2 is 1, and the answer is 10.42. So in subtraction also, we write the digits one below the other. The number of decimal places does not change. Now let's try to solve this particular problem. We have 61 minus 30.88. There are two decimal places in the second number. There is no decimal place in the first number. So what we can do is 1 in the units place, 6 in the tens place, and followed by 2 zeros. So we have to fill these 2 zeros because you have two decimal places in the second number. So minus 30.88. Now again we subtract it the normal way. I would use addition for my subtraction here. 2 plus 8 is 10, 1 carried. 8 plus 1 is 9, 9 plus 1 is 10, 1 carried. 1 plus 0 is 1, 1 plus 0 is 1, and 3 plus 3 is 6. So the answer is 30.12. Therefore, when you have addition or subtraction of decimal numbers, write the digits one below the other which correspond to the similar place value. The number of decimal digits does not change when it comes to addition and subtraction. I hope this concept of addition and subtraction of decimal numbers is very clear now. So now let's understand the concept behind multiplication of decimal numbers. So 2.4 into 3.5, this is what we are trying to calculate. This 2.4 can be written as 24 divided by 10, right? So 2.4 is nothing but 24 divided by 10, and 3.5 is also 35 divided by 10. So now this is multiplication of fractions. What we have done is we have converted these decimal numbers into fractions. So 24 by 10 into 35 by 10, how do we multiply fractions? We multiply the numerators, we multiply the denominators, and then we calculate. So 24 multiplied with 35, so if you actually calculate this particular value, it is going to be 840 divided by 10 multiplied with 10 gives you a 100, right? So now this 840 is divided by 100, so that means we expect to have two decimal places in this particular answer. Where is the decimal point in this particular number 840? The decimal point lies over here, and we know that when we divide this particular number by 100, we are actually trying to shift the decimal point to the left by 2 places. Why 2 places? Because there are 2 zeros in 100, right? So 840 divided by 100 would be 8.40. So what is happening over here? There is one decimal place in 2.4, right? So let me write that down. One decimal place in 2.4, one decimal place in 3.5, and the resulting answer. So what you can actually do is you can simply multiply 24 by 35. You get the answer as 840. The number of decimal places in the answer is going to be 1 plus 1, which is 2, which is exactly what is happening over here. And the number of decimal places are getting added because the zeros are getting multiplied in the denominator. So when you multiply, the number of decimal places get added. So now let's quickly try to compute all the other answers. First, 6.45 into 2. How many decimal places are in this number? There are 2 decimal places. How many decimal places in this number? There is actually no decimal place, right? 2 is nothing but 2.0. So actually there is no decimal place. So there are 0 decimal places. So in the answer, how many decimal places do you expect? You expect 2 decimal places. 2 plus 0 is 2. So let's simply multiply 645 by 2. 645 by 2 is 1290, and in the answer we have to give two decimal places. So let's start with the decimal places from the right, 1 and 2. So the answer is going to be 12.90. Let's calculate 3.5 into 0.24. So one way to calculate it would be, first calculate 3.5 can be written as 35 divided by 10. Okay, I am again trying to show you how the number of decimal places increase, and 0.24 is written as 24 divided by 100. Okay, how much is 35 into 24? We saw 35 into 24 is 840 divided by 10 into 100 is going to be 1000. So how many decimal places are going to be there in this calculation? There are going to be 3 decimal places. So the decimal point is over here right now, shifted by 3 places to the left, and you get your answer as 0.840. Right? Now I can omit this particular 0 and write the value only as 0.84. Okay, what do you expect over here? How many decimal places are in this number? There is 1 decimal place. How many decimal places here? There are 0 decimal places. So what I can actually do is, I can calculate 32 multiplied by 250. So 32 multiplied by 250 is going to be 8000, right? And 8000, how many decimal places should I provide? There is 1 decimal place and 0 decimal places. 1 plus 0 is 1. So I should be providing 1 decimal place. That decimal place I can place it over here. So the answer is going to be 800. So what is the moral of the story? When it comes to decimal multiplications, always find the number of decimal places in the numbers that you are multiplying, add the number of decimal places and supply those many number of decimal places in your answer. This is happening because you have tens or hundreds or thousands in your denominators and the number of zeros get multiplied, which is why the number of decimal places get added. I hope you understood this concept of multiplication in decimals. So let's understand the rationale behind decimal division. Let's understand how to do it and why do we do it in a certain way. The first question is 3.2 divided by 8. So for the time being, let's ignore that there is 3.2. Let's assume that it is 32. So how much is 32 divided by 8? We know that 32 divided by 8 is going to be 4, isn't it? Right? But this 3.2 is nothing but 32 divided by 10. So 3.2 by 8 can be written as 32 upon 10, right? And 8 is in denominator. So let's leave the 8 in the denominator. Now 32 divided by 8 is going to be 4. And I have this 10 in the denominator. So 4 divided by 10, we know that the decimal point in this particular case is after 4, it's 4.0, and when you divide a certain number by 10, the decimal place shifts to the left side by 1 place, right? So 4 divided by 10 is going to be 0.4, and that is happening because you have 4 units divided in 10 parts, and that is why the digit 4 was in units place. Now it starts occupying the tenths place, and that's why it becomes 0.4. In other words, 0.4 multiplied by 10 gives you 4 back. Yeah? Okay. Let's take a look at this example. 0.64 divided by 4. For the time being, let's ignore that you have this decimal point. So 64 divided by 4 is going to be 16. And how many decimal places are there in the numerator? There are 2 decimal places. So the answer also should have 2 decimal places, right? So 64 divided by 4 is 16, and there are 2 decimal places is 0.64. That means the answer should also have 2 decimal places. So the answer is 0.16. Okay. Now so the idea here is when you have division of numbers involving decimals, it is always good to have a decimal number in the numerator. It is okay to have it. But the denominator should always be a natural number. It is quite good to have a natural number in the denominator. It gets easier to calculate. So if I have 3.6 divided by 0.9, if I want to eliminate this particular decimal point, what can I do? I have to multiply by 10 so that the decimal place moves to the right side. But if I divide the denominator, if I multiply the denominator by 10, I should also multiply the numerator by 10. So 3.6 into 10 becomes 36. The decimal point moves to the right by one place, and 0.9 into 10 also becomes 9. The decimal point moves by one place to the right, and 36 by 9 now becomes 4. So the answer is 4. So the idea is you should always try to eliminate the decimal points in the denominator. The numerator can have decimal points, no problem, and then you divide and adjust your decimal points. Let's take a look at this problem. What should you do to eliminate the decimal points in the denominator? You should multiply 0.09 by 100. Why 100? Because there are two decimal places in the denominator. If I multiply the denominator by 100, I should also be multiplying the numerator by 100. So 4.5 into 100 becomes 450. The decimal point moves to the right by 2 points, and 0.09 by 100 multiplied by 100 is 9. So 450 by 9 is also 50. So the answer is going to be 50. So the idea in division is always try to eliminate the decimal points in the denominator. You might have to multiply by 10 or 100 or 1000 depending on the number of decimal places that you have in the denominator. You need to multiply the numerator also with similar number of zeros, and then you can calculate your answer. I hope that decimal division is also very clear by now. So I hope that this video was useful and interesting. In the next video, I'll come up with some new idea, some new concept. Do like, share and subscribe my YouTube channel and stay connected for more updates. Till then, goodbye.